definitely not against multiculturalism. I'm against religious fundamentalism on a global scale.
Right.
Because I'm not against God, and this is what people have to understand. Like, I would be the last person to tell you I have any idea about something that I have never experienced. And what I've never experienced is the afterlife.
Right.
I am open to the idea that this life is one stage in an infinite fractal, like a gigantic, infinite number of experiences that our energy can go through.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Could that simply be the fact that you are finding an alternate way, not through religion, but through some alternate means to address...
Live on forever?
Well, exactly, right?
No.
So I could take this pill called religion that will grant me immortality, or I could do your fractal mumbo-jumbo stuff, and it's no disrespect, and that could still get me to... Whereas the reality, the intellectually honest position is that we really have absolutely no evidence. This is a very small party that will last, if you're lucky, 85 years, and it's profoundly fear-inducing, because I want to be coming back on this podcast for the next 4,000 years, but it really worries me that I won't. But it's honest. It's honest to know that you've got 85 years. And in a sense, it's liberating because it forces me, and you, if you're an atheist, to really carpe diem it, right? You really have to seize the day, because there are no do-overs, there is no eternity, there is no afterlife. It's all right here, what we do. And so in a sense, there is a glory to the finiteness that is afforded by atheism.
You can certainly look at it that way. My perspective, though, is that we really just don't know. And that energy continues to move forward in a lot of different ways. We see this throughout all of nature. Whereas things die, they get reabsorbed into the ground. The very energy and the essence that they had when they were alive fuels all these different microbes and bacteria in the ground. That it makes the soil richer, it grows more plants. Animals eat those plants, that nourishes them. They literally, the cells and the carbon from every fucking human being on this planet came from a star that exploded. Death becomes life in some sort of strange way. And I don't think that it's impossible that could be the same thing with consciousness, with energy, with whatever the fucking it is inside of us that makes us alive and aware and makes our minds tune in to all of the possibilities and the wonders of the world. I don't know if this is the end, but you don't either.
I don't.
Well, no one does.
Right.
That's the point. And then as soon as someone comes along and tells you they do know, and this is the only way to the afterlife, and this is the only way to heaven, you've got a real problem. You got a real problem, because human beings are malleable, and you can guide them, and you can direct them, and you can mold them, and you could turn them into religious slaves. You could turn them into ideological slaves. And we should recognize that from a psychological perspective, from an educated perspective, from a perspective of recognizing cult behavior. I was watching this thing on this guy, Steve Hassan, the guy who was on our podcast before, is a cult expert. He sent me an email today, and I watched this piece on cults and cult behavior and cults on the internet, and it's terrifying how malleable people's minds are, and how someone who's an unscrupulous person or someone who has nefarious ideas can convince people to blow themselves up to get virgins in the afterlife.
Right.
I mean, that's a reality.
To get very earthly Darwinian things in the afterlife, right?
Well, people don't know. And that's my point. And when someone comes along and says, I do know, and this is the truth, it becomes a real problem, because you can't fucking prove it. You can't prove it. You don't have any facts. You don't have any data. There's nothing you can measure. There's nothing you can weigh. And you're not saying you think. You're saying you know. And if you think one thing, if you think, I think this is it, carpe diem, live for the day, this is our only shot here, you might be right. Or this guy who's done a fucking pound of mushrooms might have come back from the other side and say, listen, I have this idea, and I think that love is eternal, and it goes on forever. And then what we really are here, we're this being that's trying to figure itself out in this very brief amount of time, and the best we can do is leave behind information. We have this wonderful thing called communication and language. We store this information. The next generation comes along and tries to pick up where the last generation left off, gather up as much data as they can, and then move it forward a little bit before they expire. And we keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it until hopefully we move towards some level of enlightenment as a species.